Many fans and sports experts claim that athletes have become tough individualists and they don't care about their opponents. But this is not so at all, and there are still heroes in our time that they do things worthy of respect. In this video, you will see moments that will allow you to look at your favorite football players from a different angle. In the selection, you will see 10 of the most beautiful and touching deeds of football. Please like and write your opinion in the comments, and I will answer all your questions in the comments under the video. Lot of football players treat their former club with warmth, even if they spend a short time there. And also many fans can still have sympathy for the players who are no longer playing for them. And on the 10th line, there is a demonstration not celebrating swords scored. Gretzky can be brought here to his former team without celebrating Shiva's goal against Shock, in which he spent more than 5 seasons. And Shane Long, who played only 14 matches for Liverpool, but decided to pay tribute to a fan of Omsk patterns. But the most memorable was the celebration of Ivan Rakitic. Even before the game, the Croat said that he would not celebrate a goal against Barcelona. I will not celebrate a goal if I score. I experienced many wonderful moments in Barcelona. My daughter was born there. I have a lot of friends in the city. Local fans love me and it's mutual. And Ivan kept his word. At the end of the King's Cup match, the Croat scored the most important goal that only worsened the situation of Barcelona's return match. But during the celebration he pointedly lowered his hands and head down. It was the most important for. The whole team ran to him with a standing ovation, but Rakitic was adamant and confirmed his respect for the former club to the end. Fair play is the most important code, thanks to which there is always a place for nobility and justice in sports. And even though nowadays players are trying less and less, take into account this rule, because in any case there is a war, and he will judge everything as the legs think. But not all players adhere to this position. One of them is Andrea Bellotti. The 27-year-old striker did a worthy deed in the match against Atalanta. When his team was already losing 30 to 21 minutes, Bellotti, he fell on the approaches to the penalty area of Atalanta. The referee whistled the collapse, appointed a dangerous penalty in favor of Turin, and showed a yellow card to the mayor. It would seem a dangerous penalty, and the opponent's defender was put on a mustard plaster. But then Bellotti intervened. The captain of Turin showed the judges that he was on the lawn, not because of contact with an opponent, because he stumbled. As a result, the yellow card was cancelled. And Andrea just returned the ball about talent. After 10 minutes, Bellotti played one ball at the end of the first half of the tour, but reduced the gap to a minimum, and in the 85th minute, the Torino team went away from defeat. 33. This is football. Anything can happen here. Such a cliched phrase can often be heard before matches, in which everything seems to have already been decided. It is used for decency by players and coaches in order not to humiliate the opponent and keep motivation. And one of these matches was played in 1/16. The most experienced Bayern came to the match with the main squad against a team from the German League 2. And if you want a secret, it would seem that the outcome was already a foregone conclusion from the very first minutes. The Munich team began to justify their role as favorites. At the 14th minute, Serge Gnabry opened the scoring. However, even before the break, Horstein quite unexpectedly was able to equalize the score. At the very beginning of the second half of the meeting, Lehrer and himself brought Bayern ahead with a free kick. Everyone was already sure that Bayern would bring the match to a confident victory. But it was already 95 minutes, and the countdown remained 21-5 compensated. In a minute, Kiel arranged for a shaft at someone else's penalty area, and he led to success. The central defender Finval retrained and successfully threw the ball into the net, but Ira after a flanking canopy in overtime. Teams also could not identify the strongest, and a ticket to the next round of the tournament was played. In a series of penalty shootouts, in which the team from the second league managed to score all possible shots. Football is a contact sport, and sometimes you can't do without injuries in it. But if some of them heal immediately after the player leaves the edge of the field, then others put the players out of action for several months or even years, and in such cases, it is very important to have moral support from partners and fans. This season, there were many such cases. For example, during the celebration of goals, Boris Cleaver Bullet Finale House put a brush to his chin and depicted a kind of beard, usually in this way. Notes: goals scored. Virgil Wanda's teammate Finale think is now recovering from a serious injury. And the most touching act was the support of Portuguese striker Cristiano Ronaldo. The striker turned to the rising Barcelona superstar who is experiencing serious health problems. The 18-year-old football player tore the meniscus in November 2020, although two operations did not help, and it may take 3, because of which he will miss the rest of the season, Ronaldo reposted to himself in stories. A video from Fatina's Instagram in which a Barca player performs a recovery exercise. The ex-Real Madrid footballer wrote forward ons 3, "You'll be back soon, don't stop. Ramadan is a month of spiritual and moral purification. For 30 days, believers can eat and drink only before sunrise and after sunset." Just imagine what a load this is for professional football players. After all, in addition to exhausting workouts, players have to play matches this season. Football associations allowed to take a break so that Ramadan-observing players could have a snack for the first time. This happened during a Turkish championship match. It coincided that there was a pause in the match due to an injury to one of the players, and at the same time, a call for evening prayer was made at this time. Muslims observing Ramadan can interrupt the fast. The Ankara football players did not lose the opportunity, and 4 players had a snack right on the field, kneeling or dates and bananas, and 1 player just drinking water. The same thing happened in the match of the English Premier League, the game of the 34th round between Leicester and South. Someone was suspended for the sake of the defender. If Fofana is a Muslim who observes fasting during Ramadan, the footballer needed to eat, and he was allowed to take the necessary pause to eat banana and drink an energy drink is not often seen in football when a regular penalty taker concedes a kick to his partner. But morale is important for football players, and sometimes even a goal scored from a penalty kick strongly motivates the player. In the mission time added to the second half, had a chance to issue hat-trick if he decided to execute a penalty on his own, and 0 of it, acted like a real captain and gave a penalty. And Griezmann, who had a very good match but could not score a goal from the game after the implemented standard. The Frenchman first went to Mass and thanked his. Bruno Fernandes did the same thing with 2 swords in his asset. The Portuguese conceded the right to shoot a penalty to his teammate Marcus Rashford after the match. Fernandes said that in the last game he promised the English but the next penalty shot and kept his promise to the final. Last Champions League draw, Bayern defeated with a minimum score of 1-0 after the match name, or could not hold back tears. And after all, he was as close to the cup as possible, while all the Bayern players ran to celebrate the victory. The defender of Munich went to the Brazilian Alaba. He comforted the crying Na and marched for a few minutes, even while the Bayern players were hugging each other. He was still saying something to Neymar, and the next season, the Germans were already out of the Champions League from the French. And so this Moore decided to answer a lobby with the same after the final whistle. The Brazilian began to comfort and reassure the Bayern players, thereby showing that he remembers everything. Also very recently, after the defeat of Tottenham in the League Cup final, Manchester City players Elko and Gundogan, "I feel Fadden consoled the depressed son," and such actions in professional football. It is not uncommon for 2 legendary footballers to face off. Fans have been waiting for more than 2.5 years. When the draw brought Barcelona and Juventus together in one group, the information bomb exploded. Messi and Ronaldo will meet face to face again, but an epic fight did not work out in the first round match. In Turin, Cristiano missed due to coronavirus, but for the match of the last round of the Champions League, both players were in the ranks before the start of the game. Messi and Ronaldo hugged like old friends during their confrontation in the Classic. It was difficult to imagine this beautiful moment immediately flew around all the tabloids. We have been participating in various award ceremonies for 12-13 years, and I have never seen an opponent in him. It's all fueling in the media. We have always got along great. And if you ask Leo, he will tell you the same thing. Christian said after the game. We have seen more than once when football players dedicate to someone. After the goal, Spurs players Gareth Bale from He Enzyme showed the letter W to the camera. It turned out that this was a message for a Korean boy in the summer of 2018, Sun Met Lee Sanyu. The boy was struggling with acute lymphoblastic leukemia, a serious disease. And at the end of the conversation, the boy asked Sun to somehow celebrate the goal by showing the letter W in honor of the charity foundation, and Sun and Bale made the celebration. That Lee Sanwan Akwil NBP asked them to dedicate his goal to an 8-year-old Parisian fan Luke, who is taking the course. He showed the camera a t-shirt under the game uniform, on which it was written, "Luke, be brave, I'm with you." In the match with Crystal Palace, Money celebrated the goal in a special way this time. He repeated the gesture of a unique Let's Go fan on a guy with Down syndrome idol goal Alexander. Sobolev took off his game t-shirt. Under it was a t-shirt from a photo of his mother who died a few days ago. Then the striker buried his face in the t-shirt and cried later. He pointed his finger at the sky. Diego Maradona, one of the best players in the history of football, died at the age of 60. This news shocked the whole. The public all knew what kind of lifestyle Diego led, but otherwise could not imagine that death would come so quickly in Argentina. National mourning was immediately declared in dozens of cities in Argentina. Millions of fans took to the streets for spontaneous actions in memory of Maradona. All the upcoming football matches began with a minute of silence in memory of Diego. Some even came out with t-shirts in honor of the Argentine in Naples. In honor of Maradona, the stadium was renamed Lorenzo Insigne after scoring a goal, took a t-shirt with the name Diego, and kissed her. And a week later the captain. On the field, he continued to pay homage to the legend. He filled a tattoo with a portrait of an Argentine on his leg. The star of Barcelona, the Argentine striker Lionel Messi, also honored the memory of the deceased Maradona. In the match against Osasuna, he celebrated his goal with Newell's club shirts. The Old Boys in its composition, Maradona performed in 93-94 years. About the place, is a pupil of this club. Condolences, in connection with the death of Maradona, were distorted by many former and current football players and coaches Pelé, Romario, Lionel Messi, and Cristiano Ronaldo, Josep Guardiola, Zinedine Zidane, Jurgen Klopp, Stanislav Cherchesov, as well as representatives of other sports. Mike Tyson, Magic Johnson, Khabib Nurmagomedov, a great footballer, had an impressive playing career and became a real symbol of football, and the Argentine national team, thanks to the efforts of Maradona, was included in the list of the strongest national teams of the planet, and his England ball will forever remain the goal of the century.